One of the most common questions I receive from people who want to buy a turntable is what kind of needles you should buy. So let's talk about that right now. Hey guys, what's going on? It's DJ TLM. You're watching DJ TLM TV. Welcome to Tuesday Tips, and like I said, today is all about needles. So if you have a turntable or if you're planning on buying a turntable, this could be very interesting for you. Some turntables ship with needles and head shells, some don't. But in any case, you want to make sure that you get a good, steady needle. You want good audio quality, and you want that needle to be able to stay on your vinyl. And if you're using real vinyl, this is important because you don't want the record to skip, the needle to skip. And of course, if you're using DVS like Serato or Tractor, you can play in relative mode. So even if the needle skips, the song will keep on playing. But still, you want to make sure you have a steady, stable needle that delivers good audio quality, and in this case with control vinyl, a good signal to your audio interface. So a good needle is always important. Now there's a lot of needles out there. I'm not going to say that there's one best needle. I'm just going to show you some of the needles that I used to work with and some of the needles that I'm using right now. And of course it also depends on your needs and personal preference, because I'm a turntablist, scratch DJ, so I really needed that steady, stable needle, because if you were scratching and beat juggling and it was too light, it would just fly all over the vinyl and it would ruin your routine. Now, I'm going to post pictures because you can't see it from this distance, but this is the classic, the Stanton 500. This used to be on all the turntables. I believe Technics actually shipped with these needles, and they had good audio quality, but the only thing is, if you wanted to do real turntablism, they were not really that steady. They were a little bit too light, so even if you had the tone arm settings, everything set heavy, so it would put the most pressure on the vinyl, it was still not enough. So what most DJs would do is they would start putting coins on top of the head shell to make it heavier to stay on the vinyl, and that worked, but it would cause more wear and tear on your needles. Now, after that, I used another needle by Stanton. This is the Stanton 890 SA. It was a little bit bigger, a little bit heavier, a little bit more suitable for scratching, and I used that for quite a while because it definitely performed pretty good. Now, needles evolved and more needles started to come that were really specifically made for scratching and turntablism. And again, sticking with Stanton, Stanton ruled for a long time. You had this one by Stanton, I forgot the name, but it's a signature Craze, DJ Craze needle. And you can imagine that if a company does a collaboration with a turntablist, then the product is made for turntablism. And in this case, these work really well for scratching and beat juggling. So I used that for quite a while as well. Now after that, I have to say that for a long time, I switched to these type of needles. Not this particular model, but we used to call these the bananas because of their curved shape. These Ortofon needles, because they were really steady. You had the Concords. They were also in a lot of clubs. They were real steady. They would really stick on the vinyl. They had a lot of grip, if you can call it that. The only problem, again, for turntablists was that we didn't just play the records. We would be backspinning, cueing while moving back and forth. And because the needle had so much grip, it would just eat through the vinyl. So they were steady, but they would cause a lot of damage to the vinyl. Now that changed over the years, and these more modern Ortofon models perform really well. And I have a couple different ones. This is also a collaboration. Once again, this is Ortofon with Qbert. So you can imagine this is made for scratching, works really well. And the one that I use most of the times now is their S120 model, and that's their collaboration with Serato. These were designed specifically for use with Serato. Now, do they really perform better than, for instance, that Qbert needle? I don't really know. You can check out the websites to see all the technical info. I've never done a real side-by-side comparison to see if one performed better than the other. These were just my newest, so I use these, well, for the last couple of years. Now, I have to go back to a different model. This is probably my most used needle, and this is considered by a lot of DJs to be the best turntablism scratch needle. That's the Shure M447. Real steady, performs great, has good audio quality, quite loud, and in my opinion, definitely maybe next to that S120, those two are my favorite needles and best needles for turntablism and yeah, just scratching. And I have to mention one more, and I'm gonna post the pictures, guys, because I don't have it right here. This is also about Autophon. This one had the same type of needle as those bananas, but they made it so that it would stay on a normal head shell, because the only problem with the bananas, the build quality on this little handle was not that good, and a lot of times this would break and you would have no good way to lift your needle off the record. So that's a quick little history lesson when it comes to my needle use. If you're not familiar with the terms head shell and needle, just in case you don't know, the head shell is the part that you screw onto the tone arm of the turntable. The needle is the part in front with that little point that actually touches the vinyl. That's it. So like I said, no best needle, just showed you my favorite needles, and you have something to look at when you go and buy a needle. If you have any more questions, you know where to reach me, DJTLMTV at DJTLM.com. I hope this info helps you out. Thumbs up if you enjoyed the video, share the knowledge, subscribe to my channel if you haven't done so already so you don't miss out on any of my future videos, and I will be back very soon. Peace.